Hello, it's Thursday, June 16th, 2016, and as of this recording, I'm still depressed, but I'm not dead. Hey, welcome back everybody. This is episode 14 of Jamolki Presents Depressed Not Dead. I appreciate everyone who's taken time out of their day to download and listen to this little show on the interwebs. I hope everyone is doing well and finding maybe a clearer path on their journey dealing with mental illness. Real quick, I just want to point out again to everybody how you can get a hold of me. I'm available on Gmail at jamolki@gmail.com, Twitter at Jamolki, Facebook.com/Jamolki, and at our website, jamolki.info. That's JAMOALKI. I'm not really sure where I'm going with the show today. I kept trying to get some ideas and have some topics I wanted to talk about. And it seems like every time I dove in a little farther into some ideas, they kind of fell apart. So I guess let's just get to it. Okay, so it's Thursday. It's one of the every other Thursdays, which means today is the day after an every other Wednesday DBSA meeting that I go to. And actually, that's folks I want to talk about real quick as my little bit of info for y'all out there. DBSA, Depression and Bipolar Support Alliance. I've talked about them a couple times, I'm sure, mainly focusing on the group I go to. You can find them online at www.dbsalliance.org. This is a fantastic group on the internet, in real life, all over the place. And it is their goal just to educate and help those who suffer from depression and bipolar. If you go to the website, there's just an incredible amount of information and many topics there for you to take a look at. They've got, a prerequisite, it seems like, for most professional groups, where there's a, take your own tests, take a confidential online screening test. And, those are fun, probably isn't the right word, but, that's all they are. They're, hey, maybe you think you are depressed or bipolar. Answer these questions. We'll give you a little more insight maybe, but we're clearly not diagnosing you with such things. There are links to DBSA groups in your area. I was just on the page today, and they've got over 700 peer-to-peer support groups that meet either weekly or bi-weekly all around the country. I would recommend you guys, check them out. It's not, you're not going to show up and sit in a room with Jack Nicholson from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, right? It's not that kind of thing. Let's get rid of that kind of stigma. I've been to several different groups, different states and different cities within each state, and they're always just fantastic, right? We're not getting together. We're not cheerleaders. We're not mental health professionals. They just get together. It's moderated by someone who has been trained in how to moderate these groups. But essentially, it's just, hey, let's talk. Let's share some stories. Let's, travel down this road together a little bit. Honestly, there's been some times when I've had good meetings, bad meetings, and bad meeting be, I just didn't. Probably it's what I brought to the meeting, not what the meeting brought to me. But check one out and see what you can do. You make some new friends. You'll at least find a place with people who can understand what's going on inside your head. And, another thing that's really great about these meetings is, bring your significant other, bring someone in your support group, if they would like to kind of get a better insight into what's going on with you. It seems like every week there is someone there who is caring for or just involved with someone with mental illness. And so check out their website. Again, there's, links to articles and education, ways that you can help, obviously financially, but, as far as just representing and helping out and providing support to others with mental illness. It's dbsaalliance.org. Check it out. You'll be happy you did. So last night I went to the DBSA meeting and, saw some, I wouldn't call them friends, but, friendly faces, and had some good discussions. There was, new faces there, some faces we haven't seen in a little bit. It was just good. It always feels kind of good. Assuming I show to the group in the proper mindset. Like I mentioned, sometimes maybe what I'm bringing to the meeting doesn't allow me, or I don't allow myself to gain any benefit or to actually enjoy that time. There have been times I've left halfway through. There's been times where I've recognized what's going on with me emotionally that day, and I get to the parking lot and I sit there for a few minutes, and sometimes I have come back home. But, and this is like the 5th time I've tried recording this little part here. Something about the meeting last night kind of struck me and gave me kind of a pessimistic view on a lot of things right now. And essentially it gets back to, in many ways what I talked about, I believe, on the last show. And, so there was a quick discussion about rights for the disabled, rights for the otherly abled. I don't know what the PC way to talk about this is. But, folks, not all folks are created equal, and there are distinct subsets who are very similar in how they're otherly abled. And so they have groups that fight for their ability to have accommodations for those things. And all great, all good. And somehow my twisted head took it and I twisted it around, and basically, without embarrassing myself or offending anyone, because I don't think this was a terribly logical discussion I had in my head, but I came all the way around to, well, what makes me think that I deserve to have any kind of special accommodations or special treatment, or different treatment, let's call it specials. As my podcast, another podcast I listen to, Dan Carlin's Hardcore History is great. If you're into history, he tells stories really great, but special isn't always good. There's special good, special bad. So I guess I don't like saying special accommodations. So what makes me feel like, or what gives me the right to be in a situation where I don't have to work, be in a situation where if I am at work and I just can't make it in today because of my depression, what is the innate right for me to be able to not go to work that day? The innate right for me to have a day where I'm not productive. And it's kind of troubling for me. I'm not 100% sure I'm right. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm wrong in this line of thinking, that maybe I'm not looking at it quite right, but it's kind of been right in my craw since last night. And it's something I should talk about with Nora, but I don't quite know how to hold the discussion. So I'm blabbing it out to you guys, and Nora will hear it in effect by listening to the podcast. So I'm kind of wandering around the past 20 hours or so, kind of feeling again kind of unsure about my place in all of this, how my mental illness fits me into the square peg or round hole, or I don't know, whatever that phrase is. So again, this this is not the fault of DBSA or the meeting last night, and I think that once I figure this out, it will end up being a positive. But I wanted to share that with you guys. I'd like to hear what you all think, and part of this, a big part of this, is just me fighting with that. What are my rights as a person? Does anybody really have rights? Is it, and I know this is really existential at its face, but for me, it's bigger than that. That it's, it makes me stumble over feeling good about myself. And we can tie this all into, the affirmations and the, the whatnots about, hey, you deserve this, or hey, it's okay for that, or hey, smile, you've earned it, or, all that. And I don't know that I do deserve it. I don't know that I've earned it. I don't know what makes that real. And I'm a hypocrite on it, because I will, fight nonstop to say, hey, you right there listening to me right now, you deserve to be happy. You deserve to smile. You deserve to find a path that gets you to a situation where you feel healthy and strong. But if someone says that to me about me, I think my first inclination will be to just blow it off. Like, okay, sure, you say that, but prove it to me. Prove that I deserve that. I don't know. That's a little insight into what's going on in my head right at the moment. And it kind of leads into what I wanted to talk about. This is kind of a description of me, something that I kind of, I guess I say battle with it, but I don't like that phrase for me, right? Battling with it makes it seem like I'm in a, hand-to-hand combat with this, and I'm trying to get the better of it, and it beats me down every time, and it sounds too kind of overly dramatic to say battle with, but this is something I battle with, and it's a little bit of a strange analogy. So, but bear with me for a minute here. I was back when I first came to Minnesota here, and I was going to a outpatient day treatment. It was it was like a 6-week program, and we met 4 times a week for 6 hours a day, and similar to the program that I was in just a few months ago and didn't finish. And I'm pretty sure I talked about this, but essentially it was a lot to do with DBT and whatnot. And, we trained, we learned things. We had, group therapy sessions where we all got a chance to talk and whatnot. One specific day, there was someone there, and they started talking about themselves and talking about how they don't believe anyone when they say that they're a good person, that they always kind of hated talking to people because the more they talked, the more the opportunity was that the listener would realize what kind of person they were. And it really, really resonated with me. And I'm, I think I've mentioned this once or twice before, but that was the first time that I had ever heard it expressed that way. And holy cow, that, that person was just, they were my hero for that moment, because wow, okay, so that's what I feel, and that's how you express it. Oh my gosh, wow. And so I started, spent a couple of days, and I was thinking about that, and the closest I could come to, if I was going to describe it, and I did bring this up, a few days later, at the group, but what I thought of was almost immediately was body dysmorphic disorder. So I think we all kind of know a little bit about this. It turns out I was a little bit wrong in my thinking of it. I pretty much associated it only with maybe folks who are anorexic or bulimic or whatnot, and that they will never see that they are fit or too thin or unhealthily skinny. And no matter what anybody says to them, they will only see, the fat girl in the mirror, or the beer gut, beer swilling guy in the mirror. And so, I thought, oh, this is me. This is me with my personality. This is me with my emotions. This is me with my thoughts. And, so I brought this up. Before I get to there, let me just say, I did look into it a little bit more just recently when I realized I wanted to mention this on the show. And really in no kind of scientific or, peer-reviewed literature did I see the words, anorexic or bulimic or whatnot. And it is mostly, that I can tell, it's a perceived or minor defect that the sufferer has or believes they have, that pretty well consumes them and creates social anxiety. And, they're always trying to cover that up. And, you hear about folks who are having plastic surgery left and right. Hey, my let's say your nose. Hey, my nose isn't right. Can you fix it? I want to look exactly like this. And, plastic surgeon does it and it looks exactly like that. But sure enough, within days or weeks, oh my gosh, what happened? My nose is not right. I need to get this fixed again. Or I've got this mole, or, it could be, extra weight, or, as seemingly small as like the part in your hair. So I just wanted to make that clear that it's, I was wrong in my thinking, and, maybe not entirely wrong, because I kind of, just dumped it all together with folks with eating disorders, and that's not fair to those with eating disorders or those who have this body dysmorphic disorder. So, a couple days after I listened to that person talk, and, I brought it up again, and I kind of gave this description, this body dysmorphic analogy, and the therapist was kind of not blown over, but was really interested. They said they'd never heard anybody describe, make any kind of analogy towards that. And they were really interested, and we had some more discussion later. But so, here's how it is for me. So, I am that person who was talking. I worry that the more I talk to someone, the more opportunity they'll have to see who I really see myself as, and who I see myself as is who I think I am. And it's kind of a big struggle. I think it's a big driver. Obviously, it's a big driver for my communication skills that have deteriorated. I probably peaked in communication at, age 8 or 9. So, let's go through an interaction, right? So, I had my suicide attempt, and of course, following that, not everybody, but most people I talked to were obviously relieved, but they were, shocked. Hey, this is, you're such a great guy. You're such a smart guy. You're such a good guy. You're such a good dad. And I hear all those things, and it doesn't penetrate. It doesn't resonate. It doesn't stay with me. I've talked about how I'm dismissive of myself, and I dismiss it all. And yeah, okay, I'm a great dad, but what about this one time when I came up short on this parenting thing? What about, the fact that I'm not with my kids? What about this? What about that? You're a smart guy. Okay, what about this class I failed? Or what about all the times I can't think of the word I want to use, or I can't process something I've heard? And these aren't, it could be seen as kind of a, self-deprecating humor, self-deprecation to the point where you're just kind of lightly dismissive of things. But, in my head, I'm not that guy. I'm not any of those things you say to me. And it doesn't upset me to hear it. But just like that person who, all they see is the slight crook in their nose when they look in the mirror, no matter what you say to them, they will not believe that they're beautiful or they're handsome or whatever. And that's how I feel. Just you telling me, hey, you're a smart guy. Hey, you're a good guy. Hey, you're whatever, isn't going to mean anything to me. And, I even said that day in therapy, I said, if, I am, as white as you can get for a guy. And it doesn't matter how many times you tell me, hey, no, you're a black man. I'm not going to believe. That's ludicrous, right? That's preposterous. And that's what it's like for me when someone tells me something positive about me. It's really, I guess I don't know how better to describe it. I mentioned this this morning with Nora. We were, taking a shower, talking and whatnot. I asked her if I had had this discussion on the show about me and my body dysmorphic analogy, and she said she admitted she's a couple shows behind, but she hadn't, not that she's heard of. And clearly the way she kind of stopped washing her hair at that moment, and I think clearly that made me think that I hadn't talked with her about it specifically. So, it was, and right after that, she said, you're not that guy. You're not, you're good. You're helpful. You're wonderful. You're this, you're that. All of which I know she means sincerely, but it doesn't, it's not me. I can't see it. And I guess that's maybe the thing of it, right? Is it's not that, I guess, everything that we see in life is, everything we experience is in our head, right? She's not philosophical, right? Every color you see is the color you see. It's not the color I see necessarily. Everything you experience is in your head. So if this is in my head, then it's what's reality for me. And I understand that, it's probably not the correct way of thinking. It's probably not a valid way of thinking, and it's most likely not the proper, correct, and healthy view of myself. But it's what I have. It's the view I have of myself, and it's the lens that I see everything about myself through. And I don't know how better to explain it, but this is key to a lot. And this ties back, getting over this, getting through this, getting not curing this, but getting the upper hand and changing this thinking. It really all ties back into kind of those rights, those accommodations, those, what do I deserve? What do people deserve? What do I have a valid expectation for in life? And, I don't know, it's a chicken egg kind of thing, maybe. I don't know which way to go about it first. I kind of think I need to see that I do deserve, and even saying that sounds awful to me. It sounds like, you selfish little prick. But I that's the way I think, that's the way I see the path, is to kind of understand and accept kind of these basic core rights of me. For anybody, I say me because I only am accountable for me. And then if I can kind of come around on that, then maybe I can start, kind of balancing the scales on how I see myself. But as for now, I don't feel like I deserve anything. And I don't feel like, if you tell me something is my right, I'm going to ask you to prove it. And, I challenge anybody to come up and give me a sound logical thesis on how I deserve any specific right. But so I fix that somehow, at least turn a corner on that, or find a place where a middle ground where I can start seeing things easier and clearer. Then maybe I can work on this other part and decide, okay, hey, it's not black and white, good and bad. One bad thing doesn't make you who you are, just like one good thing doesn't make you who you are. But if I was adding it up, two columns, good guy, bad guy, I think the bad column would win right now. And I don't know if that's true or accurate, but it's what I see. There's a downer for you for your Thursday. As always, kind of, write me, let me know what you think about this. Give me your experience in it if you have any. Please, if you feel the need to write and say, hey, you know what, you are good. You do. I've got emails like, hey, you're doing good things with the show, and, don't stop doing it. And I'm appreciative that someone took the time to say that and let me know that. But am I really? I mean, I'm telling my stories, and I don't know. Is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. Hey, so I am clearly still depressed, and clearly you hear me, so I'm not dead. Let me know. Guys, hit me up. Give me some information. Give me some feedback. Let's have a conversation. Jamolke@gmail.com. Until then, hope everybody's doing good, and be safe and be well. Thanks.